Take two, and we are live here, Bull. Barring a complete, utter, catastrophic countdown, man. The Cleveland Browns are about to beat the Baltimore Ravens in a defensive struggle. 13-3 the score at the moment. The Browns have the ball. Should run it out here in Deshaun Watson's home debut. G. Bush will join us here momentarily. But what a day, Bull. And I'm going to give you the chance before G hops on to go over what's going on in the group chat right now.
All right, here we go. Everybody's loading in with us now. Browns looking good. Game's not over because there's been a lot of taking the points that didn't actually take the points. 13-3 Browns. I think the offense has played much better today, even though they're still a long way to go. At 13, 13 points is not enough. That's not getting it done. But I think, and I expected Deshaun Watson to have a magnificent game. He didn't have a magnificent game, but he continues to play better each week. And then when the Browns had the lead, they ran the ball with Nick Chubb a ton. He couldn't get much going early, Mike, and then he got going in the fourth quarter. That's what the Browns do. He just went over 20 carries, so people can continue with that bogus stat. But Nick Chubb needs 1 yard for 100 yards. 100. Browns taking a knee, I believe now, and I think they'll be able to run out the clock. So
13-3 your final.
It's not over yet. Don't say final yet. You never know. Somebody could fumble. Some weird things could happen.
What up, G. Bush?
What up?
But it looks like the Browns are going to win 13-3. G. Bush, a minor member of the Take the Points Patrol. I know Jay Crawford is the leader of the Take the Points Patrol.
Man,
G. Bush was on board on the Take the Points Patrol.
But listen, I'm also the king of knee-jerk reactions, so I'll flip in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
We ain't taking no points no more.
Listen. I think I saw this to Bull a second ago. Each situation is a situation by situation.
Of course, Mike. I got to take this opportunity to bust Jay's balls about it, don't I?
He just said he's the knee-jerk reaction king. I'm just saying. I think you got to look at this as a situation by situation basis. I thought Stefanski made the right call on all of them today. To his credit, I actually agree with every decision he made on fourth down, whether to go for it and/or.
No, I don't agree. I had no problem in the first. I actually had no problem kicking those first two field goals. I thought the first field goal that York missed at 13-3, I didn't understand kicking the field goal there.
Jason said in the text it was 4th and 3, really.
But so what? You're up 10. It's still only a one score game. I mean, still a 2-score game either way. So I was surprised that he went for it. But who cares? By the way, for those who say, all these great coaches. Harbaugh had a terrible day.
Horrible.
He made a lot of mistakes. They weren't prepared. Even that last fourth down they went for, they snapped it at the last second. They weren't prepared. They should have ran the ball basically every play.
Every play.
And they tried to throw too much. I don't know how many times, for them, they threw it 30 times. I know in the fourth quarter they had, down 10 at some, but still, I thought. J.K. Dobbins looked phenomenal. Dobbins and Edwards combined 20 carries for 180 yards. So I don't know why they went away from those guys. They were averaging over 8 yards a carry between them.
The Browns sometimes fool people into doing exactly what they don't want to do. Like, they be like, yeah, we can't stop them, but we'll see if they got the heart and integrity to keep running it. And they ain't have it, man. I thought right with Bull, they should have been running the rock all the time.
Yeah.
And you look up, and the Browns get a 13-3 win. I mean, it was an ugly game. Nothing much to write home about, but this is what it is in the AFC North. You know what it is, man, especially when you got running teams and you got bad weather. But I thought Harbaugh did a terrible job today.
This is one of the games that really tests how much you love football. Like, it was hideous. It was ugly. If you sat through and watched that, you watched a lot of bad offensive performances. But at the end of the day, a dub's a dub. And the Browns are now sitting here.
Mike, we got a super chat. I think we have to announce the super chat. I'm going to read it in a second.
Let's go. I got it up there.
I like the fact that Bull is on the super chat. That's what I'm talking about, Bull. That's the way to be on the chats today. He's fired up.
The only reason Bull wants to get to it immediately because it's about Jay and kicking field goals. I understand. So, we're going to read this real quick before we get to the next super chat. But Always Ballin' 7 says, but Jay wants to kick a 65-yard field goal against Cincy. LL, love y'all. We love you too. This is from James Boone.
By the way, what's more likely right now?
Okay.
That Cade York kicks a 68-yard field goal or Cade York is cut before the end of next season? More likely.
Next season?
For the end of next season. More likely.
He's taking a victory lap right now. Jay's getting killed. He's getting destroyed.
Yeah, Jay, listen. We will listen. Cade York was the bad of today. We'll talk about the bad at the end of the show. There's a lot of good to talk about.
Yeah, let's get to it.
From this. Let
me ask G this. G, because you weren't here. I said, listen, I think we all expected Watson to have his best game. He did. He didn't play great today. I'm not going to say he played great, but it was the least amount of mistakes. There was no turnovers. There weren't really any times that I could think of where I'm like, oh, he missed that guy. Maybe he did, but I didn't notice it. The numbers weren't like, if you just look at the numbers, you're like, it was okay. But I thought it was, once again, another positive step forward. I thought he'd be even better. I thought the numbers would be bigger, but I thought it was another positive step. I would give him a solid B for this performance.
I would too. And by the way, I commend him. He showed me a lot because I was out there. Trust me, I was out there doing the pregame show at 12 o'clock to 4:30. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what. I had to go around the corner and find some of the bootleg vendors and be like, listen, this hat is cute. Give me the toboggan hat to put on top with the ball up top. I had a scarf. My wife got home. She said, what was you doing? I said, man, I had to get a whole new wardrobe.
Gee, you need to get one of those. You know that we've seen these guys wearing those giant hats?
The big hat company.
I feel like you need to get one of those for.
I needed a ski mask and everything, bro. Like it was crazy cold. Yeah. That wind was hitting off the wind. I said, look, Deshaun Watson might not have it today. I know he's from Charlotte and Atlanta. I don't know if he got it. And I was surprised he came out no sleeves, and he came out and he played like a cold weather quarterback. I thought that was. It showed that, like, yo, he's not like a softie. He played like you need to play in the cold weather. No turnovers. Yep. You just get the ball to the guys you need to. Nick Chubb ended over with 100 yards. And I was impressed by this one thing, Bull. Like you said, there was very few plays where I felt he didn't have the cadence. It didn't look like he was confused by what they was doing. And the throws he had to make, moving and throwing them, he hit all of them. And I said, listen, I'll take that late in the season for a third start. I did think that he showed progression. I give him a B as well.
Guys, how about that throw? I got to read real quick. Go ahead. Hold on. This is from Set Apart Laz. Have y'all seen enough of York yet? And this is from P. Rothstein 216. Cut the kicker ASAP. Good teams win. Complimentary football is how you win in December.
As much as I'm busting Jay's balls about kicking, I'm not cutting Cade York. Listen, I got to give him another year. He's got a big leg. Now, he hasn't been good. The bottom line is he hasn't been good this year. And he's been nothing to write home over since week one. But clearly there's talent there. I think he needs better whatever. He needs some help. I'm giving him till next year. But, yeah, if this is happening again next year, I'm kicking his ass out the curb. But not right now.
Before we get to anything else. Yeah. Let's go to Watson, then we'll go to defense, then we'll go to special teams, and we'll circle back.
Mike, before I forget, on Watson.
Yes.
Okay?
And then
how about, because G said big throw, how about that throw he made, like, right between the hands of the defensive player? Like, we've never seen the Browns RPO? Make that. What's that?
On the RPO?
Right. I can't remember who caught it. Was it Carter?
Woods.
Michael Woods, not Carter. I don't know, make up a name.
But I will say, listen. And that's what we was looking for. Like we was looking for a couple throws, right? We, as we was talking about in the pregame show, I said, listen, the Browns and everybody as a fan were looking for a couple throws that just says, look, hey, he's different. His first game home, we just want a little hope. So that throw and a couple, I think Donovan Peoples-Jones caught one. It was an out route that he threw. That was beautiful.
Yep.
And Cooper. He had a out to the left sideline of Cooper was an absolute dime.
And so those are the throws that can acclimate yourself with the fans. The fans, everybody was positive. They said, listen, we just want to see the Deshaun Watson look like the top 10 guy that we thought he was. And I thought he had a 1, 2, 3 of those type throws today. And I'm excited. I thought for the fact, I'll give it up to the fans too. Shout out for y'all coming out and watching the game that pretty much didn't really matter. I thought it was a good atmosphere, a good crowd. And I think that can build on that going into next week, which is going to be worse weather next week, allegedly.
Yeah. So a couple of things with Watson real quick. The points still aren't there. And at the end of the day, that's what offense
gotta have the points. Yes.
Points. They only scored 13. I know they missed 2 field goals. They had opportunities. They have not put the ball in the end zone very frequently since Deshaun Watson's taken over as quarterback. And that is just a tad bit concerning to me in the grand scheme of things. On the micro, I thought Watson played by far his best game today. He wasn't the elite Deshaun Watson from Houston 2 years ago yet. And keyword there is yet. But as G. Bush mentioned, Bull, as you said, we're seeing more and more glimpses into what the full potential of Deshaun Watson in this offense can be. And I think from a fan perspective, from our perspective, those little nuggets, those little tidbits, those 5 to 10 plays a game where you go, holy crap, Brissett can't do that. No other quarterback that's worn a Browns jersey in the last 20 years could make that throw under pressure, move around the pocket, deliver the ball on time with the right pace, with the right trajectory. Those little things are what is encouraging that as he continues to get these game reps, we'll see on a very consistent basis moving forward. If we were grading it, I think he's about a B. I think he's right in that B range, and we gave him a D the first game, a C the second game, and a B. So he's making the –
Well, I gave him an F the first game, a C minus the second game, and a B. Yeah. By the way, guys, it's funny. I'm sure you guys will agree with me. Like, you look at his numbers, right? He was 18 of 28, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Like, if I hadn't looked at the numbers, I would have thought they were better than that. Because, as you said, Mike, it felt like watching the game that he did more than that.
Yeah, and it's the whole offense felt like they did more than that. And I think the 13 points is what distorts it.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of things. Hey, and by the way, DB Dog 21, how about J3 Sticks? Best game is Brown. We're going to talk about him, Denzel Ward, and secondary coming up, I promise.
Preston's got a super chat, too.
Yep, we got one, too, from Preston. What do you guys see from D4W as he continues his progress? Also, I love Perry on Winfrey. We're talking about Watson right now. I think we all agree he's making progress. He's still not fully back yet, but like you said, Bull, we're seeing these little tidbits of insights into the Deshaun Watson, who we think could be the Browns' full-time quarterback for the next decade.
I think his leadership, G, is really starting to show. Like he seems just now. Again, I don't know this for sure. None of us know it just watching it on TV. But from watching it on TV, as much as you can know, it seems like he's like more adamant in the huddle and more. I feel like maybe I'm just trying to convince myself of this. I don't know if you guys saw it too.
No,
but it looked like he was more in command of that huddle today.
Oh, definitely.
And G. Bush, one thing before you go, when he scrambled for that 19-yard third down conversion, that little point thing, like that's kind of the Deshaun Watson.
We need his cockiness. We need that cockiness.
One thing I loved, and I'm telling you, this is G. Bush. I know you played football as a basketball player. These are the little things that they don't show up in a box score. There's no stat for it. It makes a difference. When Brissett got the sneak, did you see the replay of Brissett running off the field and Watson coming on?
Yeah.
The high five and the general joy he had for his teammate coming in, making that play. Not screw Stefanski for taking me out. Not screw Brissett. This is my the general joy you could see on his face for Brissett getting in, doing what he was supposed to. And thank God they didn't throw another bomb. Thank God Stefanski.
That's all he had to do last week.
Right again. But no,
been cool with it last week.
I love seeing him and Brissett have that relationship. Like it's really cool to see it. And once again, off the field, Deshaun Watson, I have no idea what it is. His teammates freaking love him. And that's really what matters.
Man, when you see that, and I think you bring up a good point, McNuggets. It's like you want to see a guy, you have to be able to play with that exuberance. I think the first 2 games, he was kind of holding his breath like, all right, let me just get through it. Like, first game was like, let me see if I can still take a snap. Second game was like, okay, I'm in the game, but everything is still pretty fast for me. But this game, you can start to see he's now able to really get into the flow of the game. And one thing that you always need to do, you got to be yourself on the field. And I remember watching him all the time in Houston and giving that feel like, okay, he's doing the celebrations. Like when you got a signature celebration in Madden, you got to do it. You gotta let it go. Yeah. Like, because sometimes they tell you and you be like, I just want to come back. I had a lot of allegations. There was a lot of things, and that kind of weighs you down a little bit. You almost scared to play like you want to play because you don't even want to seem like you're having fun. And LeBron said it best. He said, man, when I went to Miami, I was the villain. I tried to embrace the villain, but that wasn't who I was. I was the player I was. I want to be happy. I want people to like me. And I think Deshaun Watson wants people to like him. And I think once he heard the crowd cheer for him, he was like, you know what? Maybe everybody ain't against me. Maybe they do want me here. And I think that's important for every athlete to hear. And I think it showed through his play on the field.
And wait till, and it probably won't happen at least consistently till next year, guys. But wait till he gets back to being the player that he was. Like, he was improved today.
Yeah.
This wasn't some spectacular game. He did a nice job. He didn't make any mistakes. It was good. It was a big improvement for what we've seen especially since week 1 that he came back. But wait till this guy, by next year, with a full off-season program and no more time off, and taking every rep in the preseason and taking every rep in OTAs and getting back his full. And you could see from like a physical standpoint, it feels like he's knocked off most of the rust. Like, his running looked sharper. He looked quicker out there. And I just wait till, and hopefully the offensive line will be better and healthy again at the beginning of next year. But wait, if that's the case and he gets back to that guy, and the progression he's made already makes, I was already 99.9% sure he would get back to that guy next year. Now I'm 99.99% sure that he's going to get back to that guy, and that's going to be really special.
How good was it to see Nick Chubb get 100 yards with Deshaun Watson, right?
He only had 99, G. He ended at 99. Yeah. But, hey, real quick, I got one super chat, and I got an analogy to throw at you. This is from Set Apart Laz. Wide receivers have to scramble when the play breaks down. That'll come with just learning how to play with Watson. I think that's just reps. G, I thought of this as you were talking. This, if it's not a great analogy, I apologize. This is off the top of my head. You know when you go play pickup?
We'll grade it.
You know when you go play pickup basketball specifically with a new group of dudes, and, like, you don't want to be that guy at first, and you kind of just try to fit in the first game. And you cut, you pass. If you're wide open, you shoot, but you're not doing too much.
Right.
Second game, you feel a little more comfortable. You do a little more. By the third or fourth game, then you're starting to play your game. Like, I know it's basketball people around, football, but that's exactly what Deshaun Watson seems like he did. That first game was just let's get through it. I'm gonna get my 60 minutes in. I'm gonna get the snaps. Second game, and as Bull said today, he really think he was more in command of the huddle, more in command of the offense. He was, I don't know if it was just the NFL Network audio, but you could hear him making audibles at the line, killing plays. And I'm not sure if he had that ability to do in Stefanski's offense the first 2 weeks, but it just feels like now that he's getting more comfortable with everyone around him, we're just going to see him kind of open up his whole arsenal. And maybe we didn't see that against Houston and Cincinnati.
I found it really ironic that Rich Eisen was on this game.
Yeah, I thought the crew wasn't very good. I'll be honest.
I was like, it was ooh,
yeah.
You got Rich Eisen, and I was like, it was kind of like they was kind of really tiptoeing around it. They really didn't want to like talk too much about it. They just wanted to say, hey, it's the Cleveland Browns is snowing against the Baltimore Ravens, right? So. But I really felt like what you're saying when you're playing on that pickup game. By that third game, you have to tell yourself, "Hey, listen, I'm the guy." And as one of the guys playing pickup basketball, and I played in varsity basketball, and I knew I wasn't going to play no basketball nowhere. I used to always be mad when we would be hooping, and the guys that was playing college ball or playing overseas wouldn't act like it. I'm like, bro, look, you play Division I. We out here and it's 9-8. We should not be out here 9-8 with Ron and the guys that's playing pickup basketball at lunchtime with the fire department. We ain't supposed to have that. And I think that Deshaun Watson is starting to like maneuver and feel like, oh yeah, I am still elite. I still do got it. And I do need that level of energy. And by the way, whether people know it or not, see, always remember, either when you're playing a game, you're either going to step up or you're going to fall off. And I'll commend the defense for doing one thing. Y'all was looking crazy. The coaching staff was looking crazy. Y'all got smoked last week. But today, y'all acted like y'all wanted to play. I saw Denzel Ward act like he want to be somebody.
That was
Denzel Ward, you're not a regular player. Stop just acting like you regular. Like, I saw him jumping routes. That last pick he almost should have had. Yeah. He was guarding somebody else. He said, oh, I see you staring him down.
The one he dropped at the end was a much easier to play to make than the pick he actually made.
Yeah.
The interception, and I'm going to read the super chat. I want to talk about defense. I was going to pitch this to you, G. One more. Hey, Bull, Chubb only got 18 attempts, and we still won. I'm sick of that narrative.
No, that's not true. He actually had 20 or 21, I think.
I was counting them.
Chats.
It's just random. It's
John
random.
Johnson III
was
allergic to tackling early. He missed like 4 tackles on that first drive.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he turned into the John Johnson III that the Browns thought they got when they acquired him from the Rams.
Yeah.
Ward played his best game. I don't know why
listen, in fairness, the Ravens passing game, Tyler Huntley
I
throwing
agree.
the ball is
I don't know why the
embarrassing.
Ravens didn't run the ball 70 times. Like, I'm shocked they ever passed. Huntley had more passing attempts than Watson, which I know is a little unfair because of how they were playing in the fourth quarter, but still.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. Secondary held the team to 3 points.
Yeah, the red zone defense, even in the run, the red zone the run defense obviously stinks, but in the red zone, the Browns locked it down, and somehow Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. Maybe it would have been a different game. Who knows? But you never expect that for him to. When's the last time he missed 2 field goals in a game?
I can't remember it. I can't.
Yeah.
I literally. I can't remember.
Almost 4 years ago to the day. They said they should have.
That's the thing. When you got a quarterback, and I'll just keep saying this. When you do have a quarterback who you feel confident in, you could play a little freer as a defender, right? Because you feel like
definitely true.
I don't gotta make every single play. Like I could take some gambles here or there. I can, you know what I'm saying? I could go for the football. I could go for a strip like John Johnson did. I could jump a couple routes like Denzel Ward did it. And at the end, we always say this, Myles Garrett is, I don't know how good you got to be where people think you have a medium season. Like people wouldn't say this is a great. I mean, the dude got almost 17 sacks. he got 2 more sacks or a sack and a half today. And by the way, the super chat, I thought Perrion Winfrey, after they sat him down a little bit, Perrion Winfrey has come along a little bit. He's getting better.
And Alex Wright. And Alex Wright.
So, there's some things that they can be said for the defense and what they come along with. And I'll give you this too, Bull. At some point, I'm on the coaches a lot, right? But at some point, as a player, listen. No one knows who Lawrence Taylor's coaches is. That's Lawrence Taylor. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows who Reggie White's defensive line coach is. That's Reggie White. At some point, you either gonna make the plays that's gonna keep you in this league, or you not. And a lot of people don't. And you gotta say, look. If we want to be a great defense or I'm going to be in this league, you got to make plays. It ain't just about hanging out. It's about the plays. And they made plays today. I thought a lot of people, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, John Johnson, I thought overall they made some plays today. And it showed because you got to win.
Yeah, and you talk about it, Denzel Ward, that pick was just a phenomenal play. I mean, that is not an easy play to make. Not a lot of corners can make that play. And Myles Garrett, we know he gets double teamed, 40% of the time, some ridiculous number. And I'm sure it got even worse when Clowney was out of the game. He missed a lot of the game. But for him to get those 2 sacks on the final, like that was it, right? When the Browns missed the 2 field goals, you're like, as a Browns fan, you get nervous. You're like, okay, we blew those 2 field gols. Now the Ravens are going to march down the field and score a touchdown. I don't know if they would have not or not, but Myles Garrett put an end to it with those 2 sacks. We're always asking him to step up in those big moments. Well, he stepped up with the Ravens' last chance, and he shut the door on them.
Yep. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments. And Myles Garrett, when the team needed it most, came up and had those 2 sacks. Mark Kahn says, good game, D, but Joe Woods needs to be gone.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
At the end of the season,
doesn't change anything.
He won't be the defensive coordinator. But like I said, credit where credit's due. They held the Ravens 3 points.
Yep.
And that's credit to Joe Woods. It's credit to the players. G. Bush, I love what you said about no one knows who Lawrence Taylor's coach was. No one knows who Reggie White's defensive line coach is. Coaching's part of the equation, but coaches can only do so much. A lot of it comes down, and we want to blame the coaches a lot more than they
probably do. I think Belichick was Lawrence Taylor's coach, but in general, I agree with you.
And I think Bill Parcells was his coach too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but in general, I agree with your point in the big picture.
Right.
And I have no idea who Reggie White's defensive coach was. No,
at all. I mean, he did have Buddy Ryan though, but
I mean, but listen,
dang, I'm just killing myself here.
It's a combination, but the players. We as media and our show especially, not more than others, but our show too, we put a lot of blame on the coach. That's the easiest person to point your finger at when in totality, everything doesn't go right. In totality, it's the coach's fault, not an individual player, because we could see all 11 guys, they gave up 160 rush yards. We don't know exactly what the scheme was, the fit was, yada, yada, yada. So we just say, oh, it's the coach's fault. Players have to step up, and it's encouraging to see, as Tyvis said on Wednesday, we're going to find out who's here because they love football or who's here just to collect a check.
Yeah.
And it was encouraging in a game like this with this weather. It's cold as hell in a game that, frankly, for the Browns' perspective, didn't really matter. You're technically still alive.
There were a lot of empty seats. By the way, the Browns' playoff chances have got, what were they? I think they had
0.4.
They are now up to 1%.
There we go.
My point exactly. So credit to those dudes. And it wasn't a perfect game. But they didn't give up, and I have to, give my utmost kudos to all those guys and guys that we've railed on all season. John Johnson III punched the ball out. Like, that was a great freaking play. Denzel Ward's interception, great play. They had a couple of guys on the defensive line who they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
But, like, they had a dude 57 on the defensive line. That's a center number. That's a center. They had offensive line numbers on the defensive line today with Chase Winovich, and no wonder the Ravens were able to run on him. But give the secondary credit. They made a bunch of tackles when they needed to, and at the end of the day, they didn't break, and that's all you can ask for.
And
it's a quick story. Like,
go ahead.
There's a guy like at Texas A&M. Our defensive coordinator. This is a great thing about college. Like, you can go from Ohio to Texas A&M. Our defensive coordinator was Tim DeRuyter. He was at Air Force. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Tim DeRuyter used to go all back and forth all the time. He left from OU, and then he eventually coached a guy named Von Miller. And I heard him talking about it, and he used to say this all the time at OU. We had one of the best run defenses at OU. We couldn't stop the pass, but we would hang our head on the run. You're not going to run on us. And he said, sometimes you can call a call, right? And a linebacker can make a call, or we make a call in the huddle. He said, but, sometimes when you out there playing the game, you got to make your defensive coordinator right. And he might call a play where you completely is outgunned, outnumbered, and it's not a good play to be in. But the special people make plays even when it's a bad call. So you should make each other right. Sometimes you going to make a play, and he said Von Miller was one of the best guys in the world at making me right because he ran the same defense at OU and he did at Texas A&M. And you would think that you wouldn't have that much production because we were a run-stopping defense. He just took that to Texas A&M, and it just goes to show you got a special player, no matter what they call it. If you making plays, everything gonna look right. So sometimes it's about making your teammates look good and your coach looking good because you're making plays. That's what it's about.
By the way, G, you mentioned Perry and Winfrey before. We often give the Browns a hard time, deservedly so, because it seems like there's no accountability. We've talked about that a lot. With Perry and Winfrey, there was, right? They did bench him. They made him inactive, and it looks like that worked, right? Because he has played much better since he's come back, to your point there. And we do need to see more of that in this organization. But I think the bottom line, it was a struggle. It was ugly. But every win in the NFL is a good win. I don't believe there's any such thing as a bad win. By the way, we got to, for a minute, talk about what happened in that Vikings-Colts game.
Before we do that, Bull, can I say one thing?
Wow.
I want to remind, we got almost 1,300 people in here. We
Nice.
appreciate everyone tuning in to the post-game show. We do this after every Browns win, loss, tie, draw, whatever. We are here hanging out with you guys. We just want to say thank you. If you could, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe. We have membership tiers for some extra content on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you find it in yourself to want to help us out and get that extra content, we'd love for you to become a member. But please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and help us
free.
Get that
That's
like
free.
Yeah. So we appreciate it, guys. Bull, we'll talk about the Colts game at the end because I also won some good money on that. Just like I won some good money on this.
Mind blowing.
Let's talk about Cade York though real quick. I know we touched on it earlier, but it's going to be a big story coming out of this. He missed the 2 kicks. The one he shanked badly from the same spot that Justin Tucker shanked a kick. The longer one also was wide right, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Or whatever it was. He missed 2 kicks. And in the chat, if you see everyone going through, it's Cade York's probably the number 1 name we've seen in here. Bull, I'll start with you. I know you understand the importance of a kicker and you don't love kickers because you want to go for it more often than most. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you just plainly, when should the general consensus start to worry about Cade York?
I mean, I think you got to be a little concerned about him already. I'm not going to cut him because they drafted him high for a reason. I don't like drafting kickers, but they did. And he hasn't been good enough. I mean, that's the bottom line. He is on the season. He is 22 of 30. I mean, guys, we can't. 22 of 30 is terrible.
That 70%?
Give or take. Give or take. That's bad. Now, a lot of kickers. There are some kickers that struggle as rookies, but the last kicker we saw, the reason it's a little pretty concerning, I think part of it is the last rookie kicker that was drafted high was Evan McPherson last year, and he made like 15 kicks in the playoffs. Like that guy was money. He's missed a few more this year, but still. Now, I can't move on. As much as I love to bust Jay's balls about kicker, that's what it is, just busting balls. I still think Cade York has a chance to be a really good kicker, despite all my comments about it. And I would keep him. I would not cut him now, and I would definitely have. But if he's kicking 70% again next year, we can't have that.
Yeah,
we can't. At this point, they have a 1% chance to make the playoffs. I'm not trying to find another kicker now, but next year I can't. He can't do. We're not going to wait forever. This is not 1987 where we're waiting 6 years for a guy. He's got to turn it. A kicker's got to be good by year 2, or we're done with it. Now, he made that great field goal in week 1, but think about this. In week 1, right? He made 4 field goals, including that game winner. Since that first game, he has made 18 of 26.
Yeah.
That's 60s.
Yeah,
that's 60%.
I'm sorry.
Right?
Wait. 18 of 20.
No, that's right. He was 4. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, he's 22 of 30, so 18 of 26. That's bad.
G. Bush, thoughts on yours?
For me, I've always thought about it like this. You when you come into Cleveland has a built-in, and I was talking to Bernie about this. Cleveland has a built-in a home field advantage. Like you saw today, Justin Tucker missed field goals. You saw how difficult it is to throw the football. I mean, Huntley didn't look like he was great today. These are the type of games and matchups where you say, when you have a team coming in and coming off the road, they're not going to be able to throw the ball. It's going to be tough sledding on the ground if you can get a good defense that stops people. And you can see how difficult it is to kick in Cleveland. I mean, I was out there today, and I was like, 1 second, the wind is coming this way. The next second, it's like coming this way. The plant, and the fact that you also have to give this into consideration as well. It's a natural field. So you don't know if it's going to be wet. You don't know if it's going to be dry. It could be divots. You got to use that to your advantage. But unless you are able to perform in those climates and in those field conditions, you can't say it's a home field advantage. It's a crapshoot. Right. So you need a kicker that's going to hit everything. You need a punter that's going to be able to grab the football and punt it. And you need a quarterback that maybe they ain't throwing for 300, but you do like Deshaun Watson today, no turnovers, all of the completed passes, and you got a strong running game. Unless Cade York can do that, it's kind of, it's hit or miss here. Like Bull said, if you get drafted as a kicker, you got drafted, year 2, you got to be money.
Yeah.
Running backs get drafted in the first round, you better be good off bat.
Yep.
We ain't got no time to be waiting on that. So he's going to have to figure it out. And I don't know too many people. Why don't they just bring Phil Dawson in? Like, why don't they just have, him just be here? Like,
Jason's brought that up before, G. The Ravens are the only team in the league that have a specifically designated kicking coach. Like, he's just a kicking coach. No other team in the league has it. Maybe that's part of the reason Justin Tucker's so good. I'm with you guys on York, though. I think it's way too early to write him off completely. The one thing I do worry about, kicking is half mental as much as it is physical. And I just need to make sure, and we won't know till next year, how's York going to deal with these misses? And now, after being coronated Lethal Weapon 3, the king of York.
No,
we did it too. Anthony made that poster. He was on the high of the high, and he is now sunken low. We're gonna see how he's gonna do it. This is from the Cleveland M. Turner family. Cleveland is my name. That's legit, and so are the Browns with Watson. The clickbait is too clean with the game paint.
No idea what that means.
Thanks.
I don't know if that was a battle rap bar or I was confused. I was reading it myself. I didn't really know what to say, but salute to you for the $9.99 super chat, brother. We appreciate you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Speaking of raps, DJ Hazmat's debuting his Ravens W song on the show Tuesday.
Nice.
Join us.
Love it.
G. Bush, we got to go back to the barbershop with him. We have to go back. I'll put that picture in there.
Put it in there.
You didn't even tell me. I'm gonna save the story for Tuesday. I got a great story for y'all on Tuesday.
We're gonna save it.
Yeah. Hazmat, but Hazmat is gonna DJ Hazmat. If you don't know his post game raps Bull, I know maybe you could do a rap battle with Hazmat. That'd be great content.
I'm in.
But he's going to debut his song for this game on the show on Tuesday. Make sure you guys tune in for that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk Colts, Vikings in a sec. Let's wrap up this part of the show, though. Bull, I'll start with you. We said it earlier, a dub's a dub. Watson played better. Chubb almost got 100. Wasn't perfect, but a win's a win, and there's no such thing as a bad win. How quickly or how much momentum or how do the Browns take what they did today, what they did well today, move it forward, and then end the season so we enter this offseason, even without a first-round draft pick, feeling pretty good about the perspective of this team heading into 2023?
Well, I think, you look at the next 3 games, and they're all teams like the Ravens that want to run the ball. And they're all teams like the Ravens that will struggle to pass the ball. I mean, the 3 quarterbacks you're facing in the final 3 weeks are, I assume, Andy Dalton, unless Jameis is back in there.
It's a crime that Andy Dalton still started, by the way.
And then it's going to be, what's his name, Taylor Heineke after that. And then I guess Trubisky. I don't know if Pickett will be back or Pickett's hurt. Trubisky's playing this week. Could be our old friend, the great Gazoo Mason Rudolph in that game for all we know. So you're not facing any good quarterbacks the rest of the way. And so you're facing teams that, not to mention the Browns again today, couldn't stop the run, at least between the 20s. So that teams are going to try to attack the Browns the same way. And so hopefully the defense can play as it did today. Great in the red zone, great pass defense. None of those teams are big threats, as I said, in the passing game. So hopefully, I said they'd go 3-1 down the stretch. If they go 4-0, they'll finish over 500. We know they're not going to make the playoffs. But I do think you can build. The key is getting Deshaun Watson comfortable and ready for the offseason to have a big year next year. That's the key.
G. Bush, before you go, let me read the super chat. This from Tommy Galucci. What a great last name. I think I said it right. Galucci? We all in agreement with how you say it, both?
Probably, yeah.
Watson embraced the cold, had fun, found a way to win, and Kevin ran the ball. Winter is coming, but there's a lot to look forward to. That's right on what we're talking about, G. Bush. So take it away.
That's where you want to go. And like we said before, you just want the mojo. I think, and we always have to remind ourselves, I don't like to say, okay, it's all depending on what we thought before the season. But when we heard he got 11 games, everybody on our panel, multiple people said, what is it, 8, 9, 9, and 8? Somewhere in that range. Nobody had it anywhere. I thought that's the only 2 numbers and records I heard of. But if you can get to a point where you end over 500 and you go into the offseason, because you got to think about it, they ain't even really running no specialized playbook. They don't got no plays that he want to run. They ain't even got on the whiteboard and talked about what different plays. And this team, and I talked to Daryl Ryder about it. And Daryl, I said, look, man, this team don't even really have the pieces to part yet. They don't even, like, for where they want to go, they need some more pieces, right? But it's always good to get some wins while you're on the road to find you some pieces. Like, forget all that losing while you figure it out. It's always better to win and then figure that out on the backside. So I think the great thing about it is they're playing 3 teams in which they want to win, and you got an opportunity to be like, hey, we got a great quarterback, and we want to see him ascend and get better and better each week. And if he could throw for over 300 yards and put some points on the board and in some of these later games, awesome. But as long as he putting up these wins and dubs, we're going to take them wins and dubs and watch how this translates. Be truthful. I was watching it today. I said, man, I don't care who put quarterback in the Ravens. They 9-4. They got 9 wins, and they was trying to chase somebody. They wanted that win.
They needed it.
And we got it. They didn't. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
I got 2 super chats real quick. AP Wave says McNuggets becoming elite when it comes to pacing, keeping the topics and show moving. Props to you. Oh, yeah, let's go Browns. Appreciate it, AP Waves. And then this is from the Cleveland M. Turner family. Again, Deshaun in the mirror, game day eye paint was fire. That was a picture the Browns tweeted out pregame. I think the one big takeaway for me before we talk about Colts here and that collapse is how much one player can change everything for a team. As dumb as it sounds, how one player can change everything. And Watson comes in, and you could say they're not related. I choose to believe they are. I genuinely do. The defense seems to be playing harder. Dudes in the secondary are stepping up and making plays. And this is not a shot at Brissett. This has nothing to do with Jacoby Brissett. But this Browns team knew that they were going to go as far as Deshaun Watson can take them, and he is their franchise quarterback. He's the one that they have to get on, not on their good graces, but to see everyone else kind of come together and try and capitalize on this 6-game opportunity with Watson at quarterback.
But I will say, Mike and G, that to me, it's more important for Deshaun Watson to continue to get better than even the wins.
Oh, I agree. Totally agree.
Because in the long run, like the way you beat the Texans, like the Browns can't win games like that, and that's an anomaly because that was the first game and he was so awful. But you can't win games like that regularly. Like that's not going to happen. So to me. Yeah, I want the Browns to keep winning games, but most importantly, I want to see Deshaun Watson continue to get better. So far, every game he's taken a step, and there's more steps to take, and I'm looking forward to watching him.
And that's the encouraging part. I think. I mean, let me ask you guys this real quick. Then we'll move on. I just thought of this, and we'll talk about this on the show too.
Yeah.
Was Watson today? Take the numbers out. What you saw from Watson today, was that better than Brissett played at all this season?
No, I think Jacoby Watson is now equal to the level of play where Joe. Remember, we said all Watson had to do was get to the level where Jacoby Brissett was playing, and they could win. And I think today he eclipsed that. Last week he had a big turnover that really he threw the ball late down the middle on a deep over route that cost him. There was a couple things where he missed some receivers. Today he didn't miss those receivers. Today he didn't hold the ball too long. Today he ran when he could have. He got them in the right plays when they had bad numbers up front during certain calls. So I think right now he's playing at the level where Jacoby is playing. Now what you expect is an elite player that his progression is going to be even better. Yeah. Next week he's going to make throws Jacoby can't make. He's going to do some things Jacoby can't do. And if you do that, you're definitely going to be in the building to winning some football games. So I think he's right where he is at right now.
Now, my expectation for Deshaun Watson is so sky high that I can't. Jacoby Brissett at his best, we saw a couple of times this year, is equivalent or even a little better than what Deshaun Watson played today. I agree with G. But that's why you have Deshaun Watson, because this is far from his best.
Yeah.
It just felt really good because it was better than what we've seen. And it's going to be wild next year because Browns fans have never seen great quarterback play.
No, and that's why I wanted to ask
they've seen it in a game or two, a couple, here and there, but they've never seen consistent great play from a quarterback. And I think next year we'll see that for the first time.
Last thing, and I promise we will talk to Colts.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of this is from Preston Herring. The white face masks have to stay. Those are the rules.
That's true.
I like the uniforms today, guys. I thought that was a really, really. I know, Bull, you didn't like the helmets on Twitter or whether or not.
No, I was just busting chops. I don't care.
But
they look
I
good.
thought
They actually
were really clean.
I mean, if this means that they're gonna open the floodgates to do some different stuff, the white face masks are cool, but I need more than that. Give me some alternates, man. Where the all white helmets at? Where they at?
Yeah. David Greenshield says, "How bad do we need a deep threat receiver this offseason? It's the one thing missing from this offense. I'd be shocked if they didn't try to address that, but it may be running back with Anthony Shorts. We'll see." No. Jeff Saturday, no longer Jeff Saturday. Just got to call him Jeff. I don't think you could put his name Saturday in there after blowing a 33-point lead on a Saturday in the NFL. I think, Bull, I'm going to say this, and then I'll let you guys run with it. This whole Jeff Saturday experiment is a bigger indictment on how bad Josh McDaniels is as a head coach than it has had anything to do with Jeff Saturday himself. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. And see, when you do something new, there's always a little momentum, right? Like everybody's like, wow, Baker. Yeah, because there was no playbook. It was just, let's go out there and play ball. But then when you got to sit and learn for a week and actually do the things that other coaches or quarterbacks do, then you come back to reality. That's what we've seen with Saturday. That's what I expect we'll see with Baker on Monday. We'll see if he plays well, give him credit. But, I mean, this after week one, there were people flat out embarrassing themselves. Look at Jeff Saturday. He brings emotion. He doesn't need analytics. Flat out embarrassing themselves. And he has been a disaster. The worst choke in the history of football. The biggest blown lead. You're up 33-0, and you lost.
By the way, the Vikings didn't really score till like 8:24 left in the third.
insane.
They was losing like 33-0 in the third.
Mhm.
Like that. Like at that point in time, all you need to do is get some first downs, bro. You don't even need to like score no points. All you need to get you a 6-minute drive, dog. Get you take 5 minutes off the clock. Bro, that's crazy, man. Like that's one of those things where that just goes to show you either a coach or a player has to stand up and be like, look, we're not about to do this. We're not about to do this. Like there's been so many times that there was an opportunity for somebody to make a play and they just didn't do it. They just didn't. Like
the score, guys, the score was 30. The score was 36-7 till a minute 19 to go in the fourth quarter. 36. They were still up. They were up 29 points. Yeah, sorry. They were up 29 points with 17 minutes to go in the game.
Oh, nah.
Absurd.
Nah, somebody got to go.
Absurd. He's the intern. He ain't going now. You got to, he's going to last it out. But it's almost unfathomable how many things have to go wrong in consecutive order to blow a 33-point lead in an NFL game in a half. Like, so many things have to happen.
And the Vikings got screwed on a bad call, too, where they would have won a regulation.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Two of them.
That's true, too, yeah.
And they still found a way. And shout out to Kirk Cousins on my fantasy team. Nice nice garbage time points there that really helped me out.
By the way, guys, how many Vikings fans do you think left that game at halftime?
A lot.
Gone.
Right?
A lot.
Plethora.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine being a Vikings fan and you left at halftime?
That crowd was popping by the end of the game, though. And the board game Maelstrom says Eisen was terrible, kept saying Watson was 0-2. He was 1-1 heading into the game. I did catch that mistake.
I'm not Watson. Eisen's excellent at what he does, but he's not a play-by-play guy. It's so unnatural for him every time he does it.
I was straight up surprised they put him on the game. Like
I was too. He was very outspoken.
NFL Network doesn't really have guys.
I mean, but he was super outspoken. This dude said he couldn't watch Deshaun Watson no more. He said, I don't know how this guy does not get a year suspension and why is he still in the league, bro? Like, I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, I get it. Like, and here's the thing, too. Like, we have Aditi on all the time. Aditi is very careful in what she says in terms of different things during the game week.
Yeah.
Whether or not, because here's the thing. She might have to go in them locker rooms and do the sideline reporting, right? She's like Robert Smith. He like, well, I'll tell you how it is. He get more personal with Ohio State or college, but when it comes to these games, he really don't do it like that because everybody is looking at you like, okay, well, let me see what you're going to say. But you like, is you gonna have in-depth analysis? Are you gonna be and trust me, I understand you walk a very fine line of being opinionated and being a play-by-play guy. Trust me, I ask these dudes all the time. It's not easy. I'm an opinion guy straight up. They're never gonna call me to be like, hey, G. Bush, man, go interview somebody. That'll be one of the worst interviews you're gonna see. I'm gonna be asking questions you shouldn't ask. But at the end of the day, yeah, it was kind of awkward. I thought they would have put somebody else on the game. No, not and I like Rich Eisen, what he does, man. He's one of the dudes I watched on SportsCenter, but I was just kind of surprised they had him really doing the commentating for this game.
Last thing before we wrap, Bull. It is now Victory Sunday in Cleveland. How are you gonna spend your Sunday?
Well, at 4:30, I'll be watching the Bengals and the Buccaneers.
There you go.
At 1 o'clock, I'll just watch random football, whatever. I'll probably watch the Red Zone at 1 o'clock. I'm in 2 playoff fantasy matchups. Neither is off to a good start because I had Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson in one league, and neither had a great fantasy game.
Right. So
and I
me
had
too.
DPJ in another league. He did okay, had the touchdown, but didn't do much else besides that. So, but I also had Brandon Ayuk, and he didn't do anything on Thursday.
No.
So I'll be just watching football all
your
day.
Victory Sunday?
Man, probably, me, the game don't stop for nobody. I probably got another blog coming out. Hey, man, make sure y'all go check it out, man. Hey, listen. Day in the Life of a Hustler is out. Volume 1 is out. Volume 2 is dropping tomorrow. We're going to be talking about it's a day in the life. I'll show you what I do after the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, how I upgrade my stuff, how I go do my speaking engagements. So we still working, bro.
Is that what Rashad was shooting that one day?
Nah, that's the barbershop. We finishing the barbershop tour too. He coming next week. We're gonna finish that up on the 29th. So we always working though. And you can see behind the scenes of how G Bush do his clothing line, man. So check that out. First episode is out there right now. And of course, it's gonna be a fantasy. Big fantasy game. Right now, are we in the playoffs over at Ultimate
next
Cleveland?
week? This week will determine if I'm doing stand-up or if Anthony's doing stand-up.
That's right.
That's what really matters.
Next week is the playoffs. Playoffs.
So I'm in the playoffs in 2 other leagues, so I'm gonna be watching the game. Hanging, I don't know. My wife might be having me do something. I don't be home like that, so she might just be having me do random stuff. True. So it's all love though.
I'll be watching the game. So I'm gonna get lunch tomorrow. I'll hit you guys up. Maybe get lunch tomorrow watching football before.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'll come out for lunch.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to join us in the chat, maybe we'll invite the people.
Not some of these people, but the nice people. Yeah.
Thanks for getting me out of my chores.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We are Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. Got all your post-game stuff. The Cavs are playing right now. I got to go turn that game on and check out. I was at the game last night. Electric atmosphere. Donovan Mitchell is so special. If y'all haven't seen him in person yet, get your ass to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. He is so good. How
McNuggets getting tickets like this? He's
always
at the Cavs game.
Here, 2 seconds. You got all these connections already.
Well, no, but these are all Emerson.
He's hanging out with Hayden Grove. He doesn't invite us when he hangs out with Hayden Grove.
Nah, we courtside.
We don't get
listen. Don't forget about your peoples, bro.
Listen, no, this is another Emerson connection that works for the Pacers. So I've yet to pay for tickets. Shout out to the people I know in the NBA. Y'all the best. We will see you guys on Monday.
See ya.
Good one.